I'm back. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so it has been just over 30 days since our last video, and let me tell you, it's been hard. It really has. I really enjoy being in front of the camera and kind of sharing my sharing my journey with you guys, and not being able to record anything for the past 30 days. Actually, it's been more than 30 days. Yeah, so our last video was uploaded on July 9th, and today is August 12th. So it's been 33 days since our last upload. And man, there has been a lot that's happened in the past 30 days. So we are going to get into it today. Unfortunately, this is really just going to be more of an update type of vlog. We're still going to put it in the vlog category, but we've got a lot to get into. I took notes. There's just so much stuff that happened this past month that trying to remember it all and make it concise into one video without a ton of editing was going to take forever. So with that being said, let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about, we're going to split this up into two sides. First, we're going to talk about the videography and the business side of things, and then we're going to kind of talk about my personal life and that sort of stuff, and family and house and all that stuff. So let's talk about videography first, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. So the whole reason I took this hiatus was to get caught up on my work. I was currently behind on 4 films, wedding films, and 1 engagement shoot. Or rather, it was about to be 1 engagement shoot. So I wanted to get caught up on some of that. And the 2 of those 4 videos were approaching the 2-month window. And I wanted to get those under control because if you'll remember, I had 30 days until my next full weekend. I had 2 video weekend. And I wasn't about to be 6 behind. So I set out with a goal to complete all 4 of those before the end of the month. And did I make it? No, I didn't. I didn't make it. I did, however, complete the 2 that were behind. I still have 2 more from that set to complete. I'm working on those currently, and those should be ready within the next, I would say, the next 2 weeks. On the flip side of that, what are some positive things that have been happening this month? I've shot 2 additional weddings. That was this past weekend. They both went really, really well. So the first one was Jen and Tom's wedding. This was up in Darlington, Pennsylvania. So this is the first wedding that I had out of state, if you want to call that. Darlington is just outside on the east, just outside the eastern border of Ohio, up in the Cleveland area. So I was up there for the weekend. And let me tell you, this location was gorgeous. They had a venue that was called The Gathering on, what was it called? The venue was called The Gathering on Darlington Lake. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous venue. Had this huge pavilion that was open on 3 of the 4 sides. The backside of the venue was closed off for like caterers. They had a bridal suite where the bride can get ready and stuff like that. It opens up into this nice, decent size. It just opens up into this really nice lake. You can't go swimming, but it's still made for some really nice pictures. They had a gazebo like right over top of the water, which was gorgeous. They got married down on the lakeside there. And then they had another pavilion just off to the left here where they had like the bar, kind of the same situation, like 3 sides were open and then the one side was closed off for where the bar and all that, the storage room was. But just a gorgeous, gorgeous venue. And, the couple were amazing. We got some really good shots. They were very kind of open to what we were looking to create, and they had their ideas of their own, and we were able to incorporate all that stuff together and work together. So I'm really looking forward to putting that film together, as well as kind of like the first wedding film of the season. Of course, the first 4 that I had were earlier this year, but today, this film really kind of starts the really starts the wedding season off, and just kind of is full force. From now for the next, I think, 3 or 4 months, it's just wedding after wedding after wedding after wedding. So that was Friday up in Darlington, Pennsylvania. So Saturday we were down a little bit further south in Ohio in Columbia Station with Sabrina and Jose. This was a more laid back wedding. The bride was super, super adventurous. The venue was amazing, and when I say the bride was adventurous, this is what I mean by that is the actual ceremony and reception were at the same location. This was the Columbia Ballroom, and behind it, there's this white, you got this white fence, and behind it was a horse farm, and they had three horses that were out in the field, kind of grazing and things like that. And we got some really cool shots of the horses. But after the ceremony, the bride was like, "Hey, let's go get real close to the horses. I want to get some shots with them." So we went under the fence, and went through, and she was petting the horses. Her husband was petting the horses, and we got some really cool shots. As the sun was kind of setting and stuff like that. So. It's really nice to kind of see that type of commitment from the bride, and like that willingness to kind of go like, okay, let's not just stand here with the horses in the background. Let's actually go next to them. Let's get real close to them. I mean, they weren't wild horses by any stretch of the imagination, but still, venturing into that, into their territory it's just refreshing. So, the venue at the ballroom was amazing. The inside was just decorated like flawlessly. Apparently the bride put together all the centerpieces and things like that. She did a phenomenal job, and it went together really well. The DJ was awesome. Really enjoyed working with him. They had a sketch artist for or a cartoon artist and things like that. They had a photo booth. Really kind of went all out for their guests, and it's a very close family. You could tell that this was this family was really close on all corners. It's just nice to see that. So the other thing that I did in the past 30 days is I filmed and I edited Taylor and Matthew's engagement shoot. We were up in Mill Creek, which is just south of Akron, I believe. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it's right around the Akron, Cleveland area. In a location. The location was called Mill Creek. It's in Boardman, Ohio. They've got these gorgeous just long sight lines of beautiful trees and rose gardens and different pavilions kind of scattered throughout. They've got a couple different bridges that kind of overlook water area and things like that. But overall it turned out really nice. Even though it was hilarious too, because I pulled in and it was raining, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta find an umbrella because I didn't bring an umbrella. And we need to, go through and make sure we find out, what we're doing with the bride and groom, where we're going, and all that stuff. And it was interesting. It was interesting because when they pulled in, it just stopped raining. Sun popped out, and I was like, all right, let's do this. So I grabbed my gear, went out for about an hour or so, shot some film. Went out for about an hour or so, shot the two of them, just having a good time, just being themselves, and we just had a good time. Packed up stuff, got in the car, and then whoosh, just started raining again. And it's one of those things where you're just like, this worked out perfect, right? We couldn't have picked a better spot. We couldn't have picked a better day, a better time. Had we, looked at the forecast and been like, you know what, maybe we should pick another day. We would have missed, gorgeous, skies, just enough cloud coverage so it's not sun beating down on us. And it just turned out to be a great experience. So the film itself turned out really nice. I'm really proud of it. I'm happy with how it turned out. So that's Taylor and Matt's that's Taylor and Matt's engagement session. I both filmed and edited and delivered that within the past 30 days. So like I said, I'm sitting on 4 weddings that I'm that have been filmed already. Those are on my editing desk right now. I'm working on getting those. The first 2 should be done, like I said, within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then I'll start working on the 2 that I filmed this past weekend. As far as going forward is concerned, I've booked 3 additional clients with the help of Amanda. She did a great job lining up these 3 clients and getting information out and helping me really kind of reel in these last few sales. So these were 3 brides that I weren't expecting at all, which just goes on top of, you know, a couple of them are for 2020. So, you know, it's not like my 2019 is just crammed full. However, she did help me book one today, actually, for this coming weekend. So I was going to have the weekend off and be able to catch up on editing, but in Sandusky, so I thought I was going to have a weekend off to be able to catch up on editing. Turns out I'll be up in Sandusky on Saturday. We'll see if I can make it home that night or if I'll spend the night at the folks' house. I don't know. We'll see. But really need to make sure that I focus on getting the editing done so I don't get so far behind. So yeah, as of this weekend, I will be even further behind than I was at the start of this 30-day hiatus. So there's just going to need to be a lot of time management. That's one of the things I need to take my own advice and really just kind of buckle down and be like, okay, every night I need to, you know, devote 2 hours, at least 2 hours to a wedding. So there's also a 4th wedding that Amanda, so I mentioned the 3 weddings that are booked and ready to go, with one being this weekend. There's a 4th one that's still kind of on edge. We're still waiting to hear back for them. It is a wedding here in Dayton, which is great. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm actually filming in Dayton, Ohio, which is, it hasn't happened in a while. I'm looking forward to it because there's not going to be, you know, 3 hours of travel time one way and 3 hours back. There isn't going to be spending the night in somebody else's bed. It's going to be go film, come home to my own bed. I'm kind of excited about it. What can I say? So that kind of wraps up like the filming and editing portion of the videography side of things. Now some kind of updates and things like that. So one of the things you guys didn't know about during the 30-day hiatus was my carrying case for our tripods and that we use for our camera bags and stuff. It's like a huge bag on wheels. Part of it broke, and what was happening was this thing is long enough and it's flat on the one side that you can stand it upright, and it's great for storage like that. We have a specific place for it in the office here that the footprint is so much smaller. I think it's like 12 by 12 versus having it lay down flat, which is like almost 4 feet, 5 feet long. So it takes up a huge portion of the room here when it's laying flat, and when you set it upright, it would fall over because the plastic by one of the feet had broken. I don't know how. Just one day just woke up and walked over and tried to set it up, and it was like, because the leg wasn't like sturdy enough to hold it up. So like the hard plastic on the inside of the cloth was just snapped. So I called up Newer, which great company to work with. I've had this thing for almost a year now. It has a 1-year warranty. So I didn't think that there would be a problem, but you're always kind of worrisome when it comes to like a broken part, right? Like you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to say like, oh, well, that's just wear and tear, or that's, you were too hard on it or whatever. But no, what they did, it was great because I was speaking with Cherry, and what she basically told me was, hey, show me, take a quick video or picture and show me kind of what's happening. So I set it up on the desk, pulled out the phone, kind of wiggled the piece and kind of rotated the camera around it so she could see that the plastic was bending in a way that's not supposed to. It's supposed to be a hard, solid plastic where the legs are, so it's sturdy enough to set up upright. And with that piece broken, the one right leg was just wiggly enough to make it just, if there was any weight inside the thing, like I'm talking about, if there was like a single tripod, this thing would just go and just fall over. So I sent that over, and as soon as she saw it, she was like, yeah, go ahead, here's our address, send it back, and as soon as we get confirmation that it's on its way to us, we'll go ahead and send you another one out at no charge. I was just like, really? That's it? That's all you need? Perfect. So got a couple different quotes from different locations. We went with the cheaper location, which was the United States Postal Service, to mail the broken one back. and I sent her a picture of the receipt with a tracking number and all that. Once she confirmed that it was on its way, she sent out this one, and we literally got it in 2 days. Like 2 days we got this new one. And I was worried too, because it was like, there was like 7 days before our next shoot. And this was a shoot that the 2 shoots that we did this past weekend. I was worried because I was like, oh man, I don't think it's gonna make it. There's no way that they're gonna get this in time. And I'm gonna have to lug around 2 tripods, a monopod, and a light stand if I want to take a light stand. I'm gonna have to just travel light. There's no way I'm gonna be able to take all this equipment. But sure enough, she pulled through. So highly, highly recommend the product. It's a great product. I'm not sure what happened to it. I don't know if it was just weak plastic. We weren't overloading it. There was maybe 25 to 50 pounds of equipment in there from, sometimes we would put our camera bags in there, sometimes we wouldn't. But somewhere between 25 to 50 pounds was in there constantly. And, it was never dropped, drug, or carry, thrown or anything like that. So I'm not really sure what happened to it. But I've been impressed with it, so much so that if they weren't going to replace it, I would have probably bought another one anyway, just because it's such a great tool. It keeps all of our stuff secure, it keeps all of our stuff safe. That, and the other thing, people might think like, oh, why do you need such a big bag? One of the other benefits to having the bag, this size of a bag, and like I said, it's about 4 feet long, maybe about 3.5, 4 feet long. And one of the benefits to having this is you can, when you're at a reception or at a location, a venue, being able to set your stuff down at a certain place and kind of have that professional look is so beneficial, because people won't mess with it, right? If you set your camera down on a table, there's more likely to be someone to come by and just snatch it. I'm not saying that anybody would do that. I'm just saying you're more likely to lose equipment that way. Theft. Now, if you have this larger bag where you can close it and zip it up, or kind of like your home base type of thing for when you're trying to get, the before wedding shots, the establisher, the venue, the ceremony, you're pulling out different lenses and things like that and moving things around, having one central location to have all this stuff and just kind of have a professional look, it doesn't beat it. And if you're in the market for a bag like this that can hold your T-stands, that can hold your light stands, we even put our bags in there, right? We even put the bags in the very bottom so that they don't get smashed and like move around a lot. We do that. It's super easy, especially when Amanda and I are traveling together. Just having one case to carry all this stuff, it's phenomenal. So highly, highly recommend it. So the last 2 things that I wanted to talk about is I'm using the GH5 a lot more, which is great. This last wedding I shot, Sabrina and Jose's wedding, about 90% of it was done on the GH5. Still not shooting in 4K yet, which is kind of which is a real bummer, because of the capability of the camera is just that, is to shoot in 4K. However, not having the equipment on the editing side to work with those types of files, that type of resolution, and I really don't want to get into that type of bottleneck. But like I said, I'm excited that I'm using it more. Using it for the vlogs now. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. I need to take back one of these tripods. I think I'm going to pick up a GorillaPod. We were talking about this last, I think it was 2 vlogs ago, where I wanted to start using this camera for my everyday vlog versus the GoPro that I have here. Just because it's, the audio is better. I can use an on-camera microphone, which is much stronger with the Takstar that I have, shotgun mic that I have installed on there. I just need a stronger, tripod to hold the weight of that GH4. So we'll make that upgrade tomorrow. Really looking forward to that, so I can start carrying that around and using that as my full-time vlogging camera versus this. Now granted, this was great. I loved using this, and if you're just starting out, getting yourself a GoPro or some sort, this is actually called an Ekin. I got this on Amazon for about $60. It shoots in 4K at 30 frames a second, or you can dial it down to 1080p at 60 frames a second, which is where I was sitting at. I just felt like I got, the 4K with this type of camera really isn't too important, especially if you're just vlogging as far as, talking into the camera. So if you're just starting out, this is a great option. If you don't want to drop a ton of money on like a DSLR and have the whole setup. The tripods are a lot cheaper. I got this tripod at Walmart, I think Walmart or Target. I think it was $20. It served me really well. It still works really well, and I'll probably keep it for this camera as far as like action shots go for like skateboarding, when we go to like card tournaments and things like that. This is just an all-around great tripod, and it's done very well for me. So we're not getting rid of that at anytime soon, but we will be picking up a GorillaPod. I think it's the 3K version for the GH5 to work as far as the vlogging camera setup goes. The other thing that we're going to update, and I apologize, this is a long video. The other thing that we're going to be updating, and it's off camera right now, but I'm really excited about this, and this kind of goes along with the 4K bottleneck that we were talking about with the system and the camera, is I'm building a new computer. This will be my first computer that I've ever built. So we parted out this computer about a month ago when the new 3000 series Ryzen chips were announced. We based it on the sole purpose of buying the 3900X, and so we pre-ordered that. We're still waiting for that to come in the mail. We've got the case, the graphics card, the motherboard, and we got our memory. We're still waiting on a few other parts and things like that. I'll be doing a full video on that when we get all the parts together. I still want to work on some type of setup as far as filming that type of thing. We probably won't do it here at this desk. I'd like to build some type of table over there that's dedicated for like builds and reviews and things like that, and tech reviews and things. So this can be more of like the vlogging podcast area or whatnot. I'm not really sure. I just want to separate the two out a little bit. So while we wait for those parts to come in, we probably will do some work over there and kind of get that side of the office a little bit more user-friendly for the recording purposes that we need it. So that's big news. I'm really looking forward to that. Not that this computer has done anything wrong or anything like that. It's just the render times are a lot slower. It's about a 4 to 5 year old computer at this point, with which at that time it was a very budget build. The upgrade path was at that time was beneficial, right? We could get a faster processor. We could, it's already got 2 graphics cards installed in it. We could upgrade the graphics cards, things like that, to kind of get a little bit more juice out of it. But by the time that you're dumping that kind of money into the system, you might as well purchase something, brand new and work from there. We'll probably hand the system down to my son and let kind of repurpose it for him, so he's got something to work on for home for his schoolwork and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the videography side of things. So I'm really excited of where we're at and kind of what we've done as far as tasks completed, kind of different things as far as like the booking clients and getting ironing out some of the kind of the paperwork and the office type of duties, I guess. Getting that stuff kind of streamlined and figuring that out. Having all these clients this year versus last year has been kind of an eye-opener for me. We went from, I believe, 8 clients last year to now I believe we are just shy of 20 for this year. I think we're just shy of 20. I didn't get a lot. I didn't take a head count for this year. I probably should have, but I think we're just shy of 20. And to be honest with you, I think we are at that point where we're going to need a client management software system. There's several of them out there. I haven't had a lot of time to look into them. This past 30 days, I've kind of dabbled in them. I went through their websites. I didn't actually open any of them or subscribe to any of them yet. I'm really just trying to figure out and gauge which one will be best for myself and Amanda's business. It would be great if we could just get one license and keep it under one, keep the 2 businesses separate, and still only have one one payment. That's kind of the ultimate scenario. But again, we're still looking into that, looking into user interface, looking into what the capabilities are of the different systems and what's going to benefit us the most. So at the end of the day, we'll probably be making a decision here by the end of the summer, just so that we're prepared for 2020. Obviously, 2019 is pretty much done and over with as far as bookings go. Knock on wood. I say that now, but we just booked one for this weekend, so you never know. There's always those last minute clients that decide they want it and they contact you. But this will really be for the 2020 season, so we'll see. So that kind of brings us full circle into the personal side of things, and there really hasn't been much going on the personal side. It's been a little crazy with the videography stuff and the business side of things. That personally, there really hasn't been much going on. So we had my birthday towards the end of July. We had a party over here with the family. Extended family came down from Tiffin. And some other friends and families came from over in Columbus. We had a lot of fun, kind of like a dual party for my birthday and then also for housewarming party as well. Really kind of had some fun with just both my siblings were here and their spouses. It was just a good time. My folks came down. Amanda's mom came over. It was we just had a lot of fun. We had Eli go to he had 2 Apple camps, and I didn't realize this, but really, you should check this out. If they might not be going on anymore, but during the summer, Apple stores have these free camps that they do, and there's different topics for each of them. So he did the one, Make Your Own Theme Park, and it's a week-long camp, and they go for 3 days. Go 3 days out of the week. I think 3. Is it 3? It might be 4. I think it's 3. But anyway, they go 3 days for about 2 hours each day, and they learn about software that Apple provides them on these iPads or whatever, and they get to play around with it. And there's a kind of preparing day, there's a creation day, and then there's like a presentation day. It's kind of how they break it up. So you have to create. The one they did was you have to create your own theme park, and you have to present it to, put it together on this iPad program, and then you have to present it to the rest of the people there. I didn't get to see that one. I got to see him do creating a movie, which I thought was pretty sweet. So they had to come up with an idea, film their idea, and then present their idea, their final film, which was really cool. So I'm kind of proud of him. I thought it was really cute. His film was a boy and his Pikachu doll, and he filmed Sawyer walking around with his Pikachu doll. And basically, what happened was Sawyer set down the doll and was running around the iPad or the Apple store, and he lost his Pikachu doll. And this whole film was about him searching for it, and eventually he found it. It was super cute. They had to keep it under 2 minutes, so really there isn't a lot you could do at that time. But I think he was really creative with it. He did all the filming and editing himself. I was just really proud of him. It turned out really well. So the other thing that we did was we got the garage organized. I was really excited about this. If you saw any of the posts or anything like that when we moved in, the garage was kind of like the catch-all of everything. We had basically stuff piled up, from floor to about 6 to 7 feet up, and it was just there was one path that went from the front of the garage to the back, to this, and then to the door that goes inside the house to the door that goes to the backyard, and it was just stuff. So we got a lot of that cleaned out. We could pull a car in on one side. I got pegboard put up, about 16 feet of pegboard, which might be a lot, but I've never had pegboard before in my workshop, so I'm being able to hang up all my tools and stuff like that. I'm really excited. I need to work on building a new bench for this garage. I'm going to build one that's a little bit shorter, so that we have plenty of room to work while the cars are in the garage and maneuver around the cars as well. Right now, the bench that I had fit a specific space in our old garage, and this garage, it doesn't fit real well. It's not, it fits, but there's some wasted space. So we'll probably be shortening it and then making it longer left to right side. So looking forward to that for sure. We got new windows put in the living room, Sawyer's room, and the kitchen. That was windows by Andersen, I believe. They did a phenomenal job. The presentation is fantastic. Highly recommend it. If you guys are in the market for new windows for your house, they're a little bit on the pricey side, but at the end of the day, they look great. It's tons of glass. They slide left to right versus up and down, so you don't have to worry about like the actual sliders, kind of wearing thin over time and dropping or whatever. You have that problem. It's a phenomenal product. They do all the trim on the outside. You can pick the colors of the outside versus the inside. So we went with a darker color on the outside to kind of match the trim of the house with white on the inside. So it matches like kind of like the footboards and all that stuff. But yeah, that's Windows by Andersen, or Renewal by Andersen, I think it was. Yeah, definitely check them out if you're interested. Yeah, if you are going to purchase, make sure you let them know. Tell them my name, Joe Dotson, because we get a little bit of a kickback. I'll split that with you if you do. Seriously. I started working out with my brother. Now that he's moved back to Central Ohio, essentially. He's not in Rio anymore. We moved him back. He's in Eaton, Ohio. So he's a mere 40 to 35 minutes away. We've kind of started a workout routine where I go to his YMCA Monday and Tuesday and we work out. Wednesday we take off. Thursday, Friday we're in Inglewood working out near my YMCA, and it's worked out great. Like it's nice because I haven't lived near him in so long that we're kind of making up for lost time. So we're seeing each other multiple times a week, which is great. Getting someone to work out with that's younger, more athletic, stronger than I am, is phenomenal because it pushes me to do my best and do even better. It holds me more accountable. And I'm always apologizing because I feel like I'm holding him back. And he tells me time and time again that I'm not, that I'm actually helping him. So it's kind of a win-win. I feel like I'm getting the better end of the deal because he's the younger, stronger version of the two of us. And, I get like his expertise when it comes to working out. He comes up with all these creative workout routines and things like that. Where if it was just me, I would just like go in and just do the standard. Okay, here's curls, here's dumbbell press, here's lat pull downs and things like that. No, he's got us doing all these crazy things. It's insane. I'll bring the camera in on one of our workouts and show you guys what we're doing and stuff like that sometime soon. So one of the last things we did in this last stint of this 30-day window was we went up to the lake and helped put in the timber for our new grass area in front of our cottage. So to kind of give you guys a rough idea on what's happened up there, my grandparents owned a cottage up on Lake Marblehead, and it's obviously been passed down to my mom, her sister, and her brother. And this has been a place that we've gone to since I was a little kid. It's near and dear to my heart. But one of the things that has happened the past couple of years is there's a break wall out in front of the cottage with a little bit of a grass area between the water and the cottage, right? So over time, this break wall, and it's just like think about it like this, it's just like a cement block that spans the front of the property that basically keeps the water from crashing over and going into the cottage. So over time, this concrete is kind of disintegrated and cracked and shifted, and some of it's fallen through, and it's created some really dangerous points or whatever. And to kind of proactively, so to avoid any like further damage to the property or to even to the cottage itself, we had to hire in, or I didn't hire in, my dad or my mom, her sister and her brother hired in a team to come in, knock out the rest of the wall. They put in metal barriers to kind of keep it all in place, and they pounded that into the wall all the way in front. So now you have a metal front. They let all that other rock fall into behind that to kind of keep prop up the metal brackets, and then they also put what's called a dead man's, I think it's called a dead man's spike into the front through the grassy area all the way down into the ground, and basically this kind of acts as a support, and there's a couple of them that kind of support the wall at a longer distance. They basically then put rocks down, put dirt back down over top of it, and now we're getting ready to put sod over it. But before we put the sod over top of the dirt, we need to put some timbers down to basically separate the stone driveway and the stone area from where the grass and the sod is going to go. So we went up this couple, I think it was the weekend before, we went up and worked on getting that done, and spent about a good 3-4 hours out there trying to get it ready and prepare the ground for to put sod down. So it's coming along. It's weird because if you think about what it looked like beforehand, you know, you think just as kind of like a prop or whatever, like you have like say this was like this was the grass area, and like over here is the water. Like there was like a cement wall that was about 12 inches tall, right? So there was like this wall that you could step up and then you could look down and see the water. Well, the way it's at right now is it's literally grass and then falls over, and you've got like these metal plates that are in front stopping the water from coming up. And it's just like, oh man, it just looks, I want to say it looks bigger. It's not really bigger. It's just you don't have like that barrier, that step up anymore. It's just more flat. And it's just wild to see like the drastic change that it's made from what it was when I was a kid. So looking forward to having that final project completed, and you know, we can go back up to the cottage and enjoy our time up there. All right guys, so I apologize for the long video. There's just, like I said, there's been a lot going on between videography and the personal side of things and making sure that we get caught up on stuff. So the daily vlog is back. Gonna try and make sure we get this taken care of on a daily basis. They don't call it a daily vlog for nothing. Miss you guys. Make sure you leave a comment, like the video, share it out with your friends. I really appreciate that. Anything you can do to help further out my reach would be fantastic. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.